How are you all? I hope you are keeping safe. Live a positive and a safe life. Everything is quickly going to be all right. We'll come back to track and things will become normal. All right, today we are going to do a poem by Robert Frost. Robert Frost, an American poet, and we have already read many poems of his. He has a certain love for the rural people, and in many of his poems he talks about them, he feels about them, and this is one of them, one of those poems where he feels bad for the rural people, for the poor people of the countryside, and wants people to do something for them. So this poem is a roadside stand. This is the fifth poem from the book Flamingo, class 12. Alright? Now in this poem, he talks about the lives of the deprived, the poor deprived people. He also contrasts the lives of the people who live in the city dwellers, with the lives of the people who live in the country. He brings out the harsh struggles of these people who live in the villages, who are the rural people, and he also tells that the city dwellers fail to realize, to even think about these people. Let us quickly start the poem. Now when we start the poem, what is a roadside stand? You will ask first, what is a roadside stand? You know, when we go from one state to another, when we are on highways, you know, there are many stands, many poor people who have opened small shops in front of their houses. So that is a roadside stand, and Robert Frost is talking about one of such stands that a family, that a person living over there, that a family living over there has, you know, in front of their house. They have opened this, they have set up this stand for people who cross from this highway. They want that these people stop and buy things from them. All right, so let us see what the poet has to say about this particular roadside stand. And it is, in general, you know, all roadside stand people have to go through this. So let us see what he says. I have written the, you know, I will go line by line because I feel this is a difficult poem and we need to understand each line. So here I am with first 6 lines, and then we'll, you know, keep doing it. I'll keep rubbing and writing, and we'll quickly do it because I want you to understand each and everything. So I wrote these lines. All right. Now the poem goes, the little old house was out with a little new shed in front at the edge of the road where the traffic sped. So he says that there is an old house, and these people have set up a new shed. They have put up a stand where they put their products that they have to sell, and these things have been put up for the traffic that speeds past, you know, by, and they want these people who cross their stand to stop and buy things from them. All right, so he says the little old house was out with a little new shed, so they have put up a stand in front at the edge of the road. All right, in front of their house and at the edge of the road, at the corner of the road, so that they are visible. All right, where the traffic sped, where the people, you know, who are going, and the highways are, you know, you can speed up there. So the traffic goes very fast over there, but they want that maybe, they feel that maybe some car will stop and buy things from them. A roadside stand that too pathetically pled. It seems that this roadside stand is pleading, is requesting people to stop and buy things from them. Alright, pathetically pled. You know, this PP, this is poetic signifies alliteration. We all know because it is starting with the same consonant. And moreover, this is also a personification. You know, who pleads? People plead. We request. A person, if they want something, they request, they plead. Pleading means to request. Alright. So here it is saying that the roadside stand is pathetically, is, pleading, is bending down. It's, it seems that it is saying, please buy our things. Alright. So this is also a personification. Right? It would not be fair to say for a dole of bread, but for some of the money. He says that dole of bread here means a piece of bread, but it doesn't, the poet actually wants to say for food. Alright, so it says that it will not be fair to say for a dole of bread. Not only for food they want money, they want you to buy things. Not only for food, not only for survival. They are already surviving with the little means that they have. Alright, so it will not be fair to say that for survival they need this, but for some of the money, but they want some money, some cash, the cash whose flow supports the flower of cities from sinking and withering faint. He says that they also want that cash, they also want that money which is used in the city. The flow of money, that the flower of the cities, it is not actually talking about the flower, it is talking about the people of the cities, the city dwellers. From sinking and withering faint, he says that this money, is not letting the city dwellers faint or lead a very bad life, lead a very harsh and struggleful life. They are living a nice, lavish lifestyle and good standard of living, and they also want a little of cash so that they are also able to live like the people of city, like the city dwellers who are living a very nice, lavish, proper standard of living. So even they want this type of life. Alright? So these were the first 6 lines. Alright, moving further with the next few lines. The polished traffic passed with a mind ahead, or if ever aside a moment, then out of sorts at the landscape marred with the artless paint. So he says, Robert Frost says that this traffic, have you ever seen on the highways, all the cars, all whatever vehicles are traveling, they go very fast. Alright, they go with great speed because they are all empty, they go with great speed. So they hardly notice these roadside stands. Alright, so he says the polished traffic, who he calls a polished traffic, the city dwellers who are traveling past that roadside stand. The polished traffic passed with a mind ahead. So actually they are thinking about the destination that they have to reach. They are going to a particular place with some work or whatever they are going for. Their destination is there, and so they hardly notice these roadside stand people, and they quickly want to reach their destinations. So these polished people passed with mind ahead. Mind ahead means they want to reach the place they are going to. So their mind is there. It is set there at the destination. Or if ever aside, but if by chance they happen to look at these roadside stand people, these stands, these small shops that are put out, a moment, then out of sorts at the landscape marred with the artless paint, then they feel that this whole area, whenever you see a highway, see the other two sides, they are just beautiful with mountains and beautiful landscape on both the sides. So what they feel, these polished people, these city dwellers, they feel that this roadside stand, this the shop that has been put by these poor people is spoiling the beauty of the landscape. They feel that because it is set up by poor people, poor deprived people. They want to sell their few things to you to earn a little more money. Alright, so the poet says that there are times when these city dwellers feel that these people, these poor people who have set up the roadside stand are marring the beauty, are spoiling the beauty of the landscape which they are crossing through. Alright, so this was still here. Or signs that with N turned wrong and S turned wrong. You know, whenever you're crossing these highways, they have, you know, these the signs that show direction. You know, the north, south, east and the west. So he says that near the roadside stand, just there on the top, there is this direction pole and the directions are even set wrong. The north is turned wrongly, the south is turned, giving wrong directions. So he says this is also wrong. The city dwellers feel that even the direction pole is set up wrongly. Alright. Offered for sale wild berries in wooden quads, he says, and these people, they sell wild berries in wooden quads. You know, they are not put up in good beautiful utensils or in, you know, it's not a big showroom that you have a glass shelf or something. These things are put up in wooden cartons, wooden boxes. They are not so polished and they are not so good looking boxes. You know, so they sell these wild berries in the wooden quads. Or crook-necked golden squash. You know what squash is? Golden squash. This is a type of vegetable. And if you look at it, just go through the Google and see the images. They have got crooked necks. Alright. So he says, and they are also selling these vegetables whose neck is crooked. This is, you know, the shape of the vegetable. With silver warts. What is silver warts? When the vegetable starts getting spoiled, you know, sort of fungus or that silver thing that comes on it, that is there. So he says even the vegetables that they are selling is getting spoiled. Why are they getting spoiled? Because no one is buying them. What do they do? Alright, so he says that they have got silver warts or beauty rest in a beautiful mountain scene. And he says, just imagine, this is such a beautiful mountain scene on both the sides. And these people are marring the beauty. They are spoiling the beauty of this whole landscape. So this is the thinking of the city dwellers. Okay? Okay? So moving further, the poet says, you have the money. So here the poet is telling the city dwellers. Alright? So he says, you have the money, but if you want to be mean, selfish, why keep your money this crossly and go along? This is in bracket. Actually, the poet wants to tell that he was feeling very angry. He was furious at these city dwellers. So this is actually for the poet. So he says that you have the money, but if you want to be mean, if you don't want to buy anything, then he commands them, then why keep your money and go along? So keep your money. Keep your money with you. Don't stop here and don't talk about them. Alright, don't feel that these people are callous. Try to understand their struggles. Try to understand the reality in which they are living, the life that is so struggleful. So he tells the city dwellers that don't be mean. If you don't want to buy anything, then he commands them, keep your money with you and go along. Then he moves on to say that the hurt to the scenery wouldn't be my complaint. He says that as the people say that this whole landscape is being marred, is being spoiled by this roadside stand, alright, the look is getting spoiled. He says, I do not feel this. I do not feel that this is a hurt on the landscape, on the beautiful area that is there. Alright, he says that is not my complaint. So much as the trusting sorrow of what is unsaid. He says, I feel bad for these people who live such a life full of deprivation, full of struggles. The plight of these people is really so much that it is all unsaid. We cannot say, we cannot describe them in just 2 words or so. Alright, and he has used the poetic device synecdoche over here. What is synecdoche? When we, by using just a few words, we want to mean the whole. Alright, we want to say a lot. So, what is unsaid? There is a lot of things unsaid. If we sit down and make a list of the problems that these people go through, the type of life they are living, the list will be endless. Alright, so he says that first these 2 lines are he's telling to the city dwellers that if you don't want to stop and buy anything from them, then just don't be mean to come and talk about them and tell that they are marring the beauty of the nature. Just don't criticize. Move on, speed on, alright? And then he says that I do not feel that these people are in any way, they are hurting the scenery, they are spoiling the scenery, the landscape, the beauty of the nature that is providing in that area. But he says that I feel for the people, the problems that are unsaid. We can't count them. They are innumerable. There are a lot of problems that we cannot say. So he feels bad for these people. Then the poem goes on. Here, far from the city, we make a roadside stand. So these lines are being spoken by the people who have set up this roadside stand. They say that here, far from the city, away from the city, we have set up this stand. Far, FF. Alright, this is alliteration. And ask for some city money to feel in hand. They say we are surviving in the little that we have. We only want to feel the city money a little more so that we can expand our way of living. We can improve our standard of living. Alright, so they just want to feel the money, the city money, to try if it will not make our being expand. They want to improve their standard of living, their way of living, their life. They want to make it better and give us the life of the moving pictures promised. He says that these people say that we see such beautiful things, such nice things in the movies. That seems to be reality, and we want to live that type of life that we see in the movies. Alright, so these moving pictures is referring to the movies, and TP we can see that this is alliteration. Alright, that the party in power, PP again alliteration, is said to be keeping from us. So you know, these people, the politicians, they make wrong promises. They make false promises. You know, they want these people to vote for them. These people are their vote banks. And they come and make false promises to them that they will provide a better life to them. They make many promises, and they say that these people, although they make promises, and we feel that we will also live the life that we see in the movies, they feel that these politicians are not keeping their promise and they are depriving them of this type of life. Alright, so these lines, these 5 lines are being spoken by the roadside stand people. They say that we want to feel the city money, to expand, to improve our standard of living that we see in the movies, and that they feel that the people in power, the party in power, the politicians, alright, they are not keeping their promises and they are depriving them of that type of life that these roadside stand people also long for. Okay? Alright, so we'll move further. Alright, moving on further, let us see what the poet has to say. It is in the news that all these pitiful kin are to be bought out and mercifully gathered in to live in villages next to the theatre and the store. So Frost goes on to say that, you know, these people who are in power, they have even informed the news people, it is already there in the news that the people who are in power are working so much for these people, for these poor people, these deprived people of the villages of the country, and they are planning to bring them out from there and will get them to live near the theaters and the stores, where they will be able to live in the city also, as they already long for, and will be able to earn better. So these are the promises that they have already made to these people. You know, the people in power, they are so very selfish for the vote bank. You know, they want votes. So they exploit these poor people, these simple-minded people, these innocent people who long for a city life, a better life for themselves and for their family. You know, they are exploited. Even there are times when they have to sell their small patches of land to these people, because they feel that they will, if they do so, these people who are in power, they have already promised, and they will be able to come out of this deprived condition and be able to live in the city. You know, those people, they promise them to make them live near the theaters and the stores where there is a lot of sale. Such false promises these people in power make. You know, they swarm around these people. What is swarm? Swarm is a group of flies. Alright? So these people who are selfish, they swarm around these villagers and blackmail them, exploit them. Alright? Now here, kin means, actual meaning of kin is relative, anyone related to. Alright? So this pitiful kin is mentioned, is referred to the villagers. Alright, are to be bought. See, Frost doesn't use the word brought. Brought means to bring. He says they are to be bought. Why bought? Because they are the vote bank. They are the people who will give them votes, and that will help them to win the elections. Right? So, and mercifully gathered in to live in the villages next to the theatre and the store. So they promise that they will be able to live near the theatres and the store, where the sale will be better, and they will be able to live the city life and a better life that already these country people, the village people, are longing for. Alright? Now you can already see B, all these are T, alliterations. If I have missed any, you know how to do it. I have already explained in so many poems also, here also, that when the poet uses this poetic device, what is that? Alliteration. What is alliteration? When he uses the words with same consonants, just in the same line. So that is alliteration. Alright? Moving further, where they won't have to think for themselves anymore. Why? So they say when these people start, when these people will be able to live the city life, they will not think much about themselves. You know, right now they are living a struggleful life, and always they keep longing for moving to the city, for the city money, to expand their livelihood. Not for survival, already they are surviving, but for a better standard of living, for a better life. Alright? So, moving further, while greedy good doers, beneficent beasts of prey. Now, greedy good doers are these people who are in power. Beneficent beasts of prey, they are the beasts of prey. They are like beasts to these village people. Alright? So, these two are referred to the people in power, and just see how beautifully he uses oxymoron over here. Frost uses oxymoron, greedy good. What is oxymoron? It is a poetic device where two contradictory terms, two contrasting terms are used together. So anyone who is greedy will never be good, but here he has used them, and here beneficent and beasts. Alright? Whatever is a benefit for us, there will never be a beast. Beast is always to kill the prey, right? So this and this both are oxymoron. Moreover, GG alliteration, BB alliteration. Alright, so he goes on to say, while greedy good doers, beneficent beasts of prey, swarm over their lives enforcing benefits. These people, they come like flies around these village people and they make false promises. Alright, and they are the people who are greedy for their vote bank, greedy for small patches of land, greedy for, they need their help, so they make false promises. Alright, they enforce benefits, they give them so many promises, they make so many promises that if they are elected and they come into power, they will benefit these village people a lot. Alright, that are calculated to soothe them out of their wits. And the way these promises are made, they are so, they manipulate people in such a way that these people are not able to think rationally. They start thinking in the way they are being manipulated. They are not able to realize that these promises are false and will never come into being, right? And by teaching them how to sleep, they sleep all day. They tell them that now you don't have to worry, now just relax, just give us vote, and whatever they want, they take from them, these greedy people, these people in power, and they tell them to relax and to sleep and have a nice time. But what happens is, the promises are never kept, and it is they, the greedy people, the people in power, they sleep all day while the village people are not able to sleep neither in the morning nor at night. The way they had been taught in the ancient way, what is the ancient way? The old people used to live very simple life, and the whole day they used to labor, and at night they used to sleep. But now things have become reversed. These people are so anxious, so full of tension that they don't even sleep at night. Such pathetic condition in which these people are living. Alright. Now moving further, let us see what Frost has to say. Sometimes I feel, now the poet says, alright, now the poet is feeling very bad for these people, for these villagers, and he says, sometimes I feel myself I can hardly bear the thought of so much childish longing in vain. He feels that these villagers are having this childish longing, these small children, when they want something and they tell that they want that thing, and they keep longing for, the desire is there in them. So he feels that the desire, this childish longing in the villagers is in vain, and Frost finds it difficult to bear the way these people are longing to, move to the city, waiting for the promises to be fulfilled. Alright. Then he says, the sadness that lurks near the open window, there that waits all day in almost open prayers. And then he talks about the roadside stand and its window, and it says that sadness is hanging out there, lurks is existing, alright, to hang out there. So he says the ambience is full of sadness, there is a sad atmosphere all around. And these open windows are longing for people to come and buy things from them. They are longing for getting to touch the city money. The money that will improve their way of living. Alright, so he says that sadness lurks near the open window. Actually, it is talking about the open window. That open window, the sadness is there, and it seems that this window is waiting in open prayer. This is a personification. Alright, persons sit there and wait. Actually, people are sitting inside, but the way Frost has put that, it seems that the open window is also longing for people to come. Alright, so this is a personification. He moves on to say, for the squeal of brakes, what are these windows waiting for? What are the people of the roadside stand waiting for? For any car to come and stop. This squeal of brakes, cars are moving with great speed on the highways, and when they stop at any shop or any stand of this sort, there is a sound of, a squeal of brakes. The car, when they put the brakes. Alright, so these people are waiting for this brake sound, the squeal of brakes. Alright, the sound of a stopping car SS he has used. Sound of a stopping car of all the 1,000 selfish cars that pass. He says these cars are selfish. They don't even bother to think about these people. The roadside stand people who are so poor, who are so poverty stricken, who are longing for people to stop by and buy their items. Alright, so they describe the cars here as selfish. Again, this is a poetic device, that is a transferred epithet. Alright, and he says, I have written here, it is a transferred epithet because it is describing the cars. Birds, when they describe a noun, car is a noun, and he has used the word selfish for this. Alright, so he says 1,000 selfish cars that pass just want to inquire what a farmer's prices are. He says that there are times these cars stop, but for what? Not for buying their items, but for asking for the farmer's prices. And one did stop, but only to plow up grass in using the yard to back and turn around. There are times when people go wrong in the direction, and what they do, they come near the roadside stand, this shop, and they use that open space to take a U-turn to come back and then plow the grass over there, to move the grass, to spoil the grass of that area. So they feel that only that they had come back to that place only to inquire about the farmer's price of the particular items, or to take a U-turn. Alright, and another to ask the way to where it was bound. And sometimes people, they stop by, instead of buying, they ask those people that where this road is leading to, and they ask the other directions. And another to ask, could they sell it a gallon of gas? And there are other cars, who stop and ask them if they are selling gas too. And this angers Frost, and he says they couldn't. This crossly, he has used in bracket to show that Frost is very angry, very furious, and he says they couldn't. They had none, didn't see. So Frost says, you also know they are selling those wild berries, they are selling the squash. Are they selling gas? Can't they see that gas is not there with them? Then why to stop and build in false hope in these people? So he feels very bad about these people. Alright, and one more thing, this is a transferred epithet. I think I missed telling you about, in the first paragraph also there's a transferred epithet, polished traffic. When he uses that word, he's describing the traffic as polished. Alright, so this is also a transferred epithet. Alright, next. Alright, so let us see the last paragraph. No, in country money, the country scale of gain, the requisite lift of spirit has never been found. He says that the money that is available in the country, the little money, that is not enough to give those country people any profit or any gain. Money has got the power to lift your spirits, to make you happy, or to dampen your spirits and make you sad. So this lack of money has created a sad atmosphere in the people living there, because they have to live such harsh and struggleful lives. And then in the third line he says here, or so the voice of the country to complain. And so it is quite natural that these people want to express their pain. They want to talk about the struggles that they are going through. That is why they long for leaving this place and they want to go to the cities to live a city life, to earn more, to raise the standard of living, to live a better life and to provide a better life to their own family and children. They don't want the life that they are living should be continued, should be carried over by the children too. So they want to raise their standard of living. Then Frost says, I can't help owning the great relief it would be to put these people at one stroke out of their pain. The poet says that I stay here, I look at them, I realize the struggle that they are going through, and he says even I will be, it will give me a lot of relief if the people in power, they have so much of power, they are so powerful that in one stroke they can move these people from the countryside and bring them to the city, that they have the power to fulfill their dreams and promises that these people had made. So he says that I can't help owning the great relief. He says even I will feel a great relief. Even the pain that I'm feeling because of these people, that will get relieved, that I will be able to relax if in one stroke, these people are put out of this struggleful life and brought to city to gain and earn more, to fulfill their dreams and promises. Then he says, and then next day, as I come back into the same harsh place, the same place where again the sad atmosphere is still existing, people are still struggling. So he says, when next day I come back, when the next time I come back, I find them living the same life. There is no change, their promises have not been fulfilled. They are still anxious, they are still waiting for good days. Alright? And he says that and then the next day as I come back into the scene, I wonder how I should like you to come to me and offer to put me gently out of pain. Now here we don't know who he is talking to. So the poet, when he uses this type of device, when he's talking to an abstract person, it is giving an abstract idea. No one is present here. When a person who is absent is being referred to here, this poetic device is apostrophe. I have written here, it is apostrophe. Alright? And he has used this to tell generally that how will you relieve me? I will only get relieved when I find these people have come out of their struggleful life, their promises have been fulfilled, they have been moved from here to the city and they are earning more, living a happy and fruitful life. So beautifully, Frost has understood the lives of these rural people, and he wants, so well he has expressed and brought out the contrast between the city people and the people of countryside. He has also brought out the reality of these, the greedy good doers who promise these people that they would one day fulfill their dreams. They manipulate these people, and this is a harsh reality which actually exists today too. The poor people are more in number. They are a big vote bank. And when they are made false, they are very simple, innocent people. And when they are made false promises, they are not able to think rationally. And they become victims. They get exploited. Alright, so I have, because I wanted, each line to be explained, so I have written all the lines and explained to you with all the poetic devices and all. And I want you to go through the poem again. You all have got your books also. Watch my video along, by reading, along with reading your book, the poem in the book. And if you have any queries, please put it in the comment section, and you can even mail your queries to me. I have already put my mail ID there. Alright, and do let me know if the sections that I explain, whatever you like more, please put it in the comment section. It really encourages and motivates me. Please go through the video and analyze how I have done. And if you have not subscribed my channel, please do so. Take good care of yourself. Have a nice day.